Alhamdulillah, la ilaha illallah, wa lahu la sharika lahu. I bear witness that there's no God but God, and no partner has he. I greet everybody with universal greetings of Assalamu alaikum. And to all those who are fasting, Ramadan Kareem. Today, the sermon will not be short, and it won't be long. Inshallah, I'm going to ask God to grant me supporting power from Him to guide my heart and to open our hearts so that we may get the soul food that is needed every day of our lives while we're living in this earth. My Lord, I seek refuge in you from the suggestions of the devils, and my Lord, I seek refuge in you lest they ever come near me. I'm going to start from Surah 45, but inshallah, excuse me. Okay, let me just start from 45. Okay. Surah 45, kneeling. Okay. No, I'm good right here. I'm good. I'm good. No, I'm good.
So far away.
No, I'm good. I'm good right here. Okay, Surah 45, kneeling. Al-Jathiyah. Y'all can hear me out there? See, the reason why I want to be close up is if I start yelling, y'all fasting, I don't want to irritate you guys. That's why I'm back here. Okay. In the name of God, I'm being honest, but I'm going to try to tone it to where I'm not yelling because we're fasting. In the name of God, most gracious, most merciful. Okay, I'm sorry. See, I got thrown off here, but that's okay. My Lord, I seek refuge in you from the suggestions of the devils. And my Lord, I seek refuge in you so that come in. Today's title of the sermon is called Return to Submission. That's the title. Now, mind you, I was trying to get some titles together. And I got various ways of how I get inspired to bring about titles because I want to talk about the exact nature of how I'm feeling, right? And also, give a message to the community that's going to bring about something within your soul in this month of Ramadan. So, the title of the sermon is called Return to Submission. And God will, I'm going to connect the dots and bring everything home to where we can understand the return to submission in this month of Ramadan. Okay, in the name of God, most gracious, most merciful. Hameen. The revelation of this scripture is from God, the Almighty, most wise. The heavens and the earth are full of proofs for the believers. Also in your creation, inside of you, and the creation of all the animals. There are proofs for people who are certain. Also the alternation of the night and the day, and the provisions that God sends down from the sky to revive dead lands. And the manipulation of the winds. I know y'all felt that wind, right? Yesterday, that wind felt so good, didn't it? Right? All these are proofs for people who understand. You see how wise God is? God even speaks about the wind. We can't see the wind, but we feel the wind, right? And God speaks about the wind, and God says that all these are proofs for the people who understand. So that means that if you don't understand, then you ain't going to understand what it is that God is saying, right? Because God says for those who understand, right? Because you could be talking to somebody, right? And they, right? and they don't understand not a word you saying, right? They don't get it, right? So this is for those who understand. And part of understanding is you got to be humble in order to understand. Yes, humility. Okay? Now do y'all know why I'm back here and not way up there? Okay. So, the return to submission. I see a return to submission right now. You just walked in the door. You see how God works? Do you really see how God works? That's why we must worry about our own necks. Because God is working. That's why God says, I know the seen and unseen. Right? So I'm not calling no psychic. Right? Right? I'm not looking in no crystal ball. I'm going to the Quran. Right? Right? Because God says he has not left nothing out. Because see what is happening is some channels that have been opened for us. Yes. And some things are going to be revealed to each and every one of us. Right? Because we already got those things revealed to us. Right? Yes. And we know that God has allowed us to return back to the covenant. Right? Right? We have returned back to the covenant because some of us forgot the covenant, right? For some of us, the religious leaders hate the covenant, right? So we didn't know about the covenant, but God sent us a messenger, right? The message of the covenant, right? So now we know that we are under a covenant. We know that the covenant has a mathematical code for us to understand that it's from God. So what does that make us? That makes us the covenant keepers. Do you understand what I'm saying here? So when you walk, right, and when you going about your day, keep in your mind that you are one of the covenant keepers. That's right. That's right. So there's a certain way we move, certain way we talk, certain way we try to think, because our thinking can be our enemy. So we channel in to what God has given us. And Ramadan is that return to submission from God. Now, what do I mean by the return to submission? Because God says, take a break. Not just 5-minute timeout break. I want you to take a 28 to 30-day break. Now here's the wisdom in this. God says, take a break from 28 to 30 days, right? Eat before sunrise. During the daylight hours, no eating, no drinking water, none of that stuff that you normally do. But you can still earn a living, right? Right?
Yes, sir.
Okay? So, once night comes, then God says, okay, you can drink some water. You can eat some food. Right? You see the return to submission? You see that return to submission? Because the return to submission is the God has a pause button for us. And it comes once a year. God says, pause, stop. Right? I got something for you to do. Right? And for us who's been in a continuance of doing this Ramadan year after year, it gets easy. I'm telling you. Because automatically you know Ramadan is coming. You know, you feel a little shaky in the beginning, right? Because we haven't, did it for that. Last year we did it, now it's a new year. So, it's a return back to submission. That's the type of sermon for those who are just coming in. Where God wants you to return back to submission. I'm going to read some more stuff. Because everything that we do in submission as confident keepers, because we are the confident keepers, we are the submitters, right? Who are striving to keep the confident, so that makes us confident keepers. Okay? So, everything that we do in this path, there is a reason and there's an answer. God don't want us doing stuff without gaining from it. God is not going to let us do stuff without understanding what it is that we're doing. God is going to allow us to get answers in this month of Ramadan if we're sincerely fasting to understand an even higher purpose of why we're down here. That's how deep it gets. I'm telling you. This fast, listen, Ramadan is a burning, if I'm correct, right? Okay, it's a burning, right? So some of us going to be burning away some stuff that we should have burnt a long time ago. But God gives us a chance each year to take a look at ourselves, right? Because God says, you got to take a break for at least 28 to 30 days. It's a commandment from God in the Quran where God says, take that break, right? And if you notice, through the fasting, you go within. Now why do you go within? Because you don't want to argue with nobody, right? You don't want to do too much talking, right? You don't want to be doing too much of anything because you know your focal point is on the fasting, the Ramadan, right? The looking at the self. Ramadan brings you back to yourself. That's what Ramadan does. We know we are fasting for God, of course, because God tells us in the Quran. But then it gets deeper. The Ramadan not only brings you back to yourself, but it brings you back to God. Then you and God become one in unison. And then you're working and walking with God.
Praise be to God.
That's the purpose of the Ramadan. Because all through the year, we doing this, we doing that, right? Then God says, Kun fayakun. Be. And it is. And then the Ramadan is prescribed. Why would God say prescribed? You go to the doctor. The doctor say, I'm going to prescribe some medicine for that ailment. Well, guess what? The Ramadan is the medicine for your ailments because there are many within you in this earth. And God gives you the Ramadan to heal you. So don't take the fasting as a hardship. It's a gift. Because it's how we look at the fasting. If you're looking at it like it's a hardship, then it's going to be a hardship. Because you don't understand what it is you're doing. You don't understand how powerful this thing is. Because when you understand how powerful this thing is, and when you understand how powerful what God has given you, and when you understand you are a confident keeper in submission, and you return it back to submission, that's when you're going to understand, man, I got the best thing going on. I got guidance, I got direction, I got parameters, I got rules and regulations, I got things that when I fall, if I come back, it'll bring me back up, right? Right? That's how deep this thing is. That's how deep submission is. You can fall on your face, but if you come back to the prescribed medicine, God will heal you. Right? Right? Because God says what in it is a healing for whatever ails you.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yes, sir.
This thing is deep.
Yes, sir.
It's deep. It's deep. That's why God calls the spirit of man, the spirit of woman, the spirit of the children. Right? God deals with the spirit of who you are, and once you understand the spirit of who you are, then your brain, your heart, and your blood flows in accordance to what it is God wants you to do, and then you return back to submission. That's why we cannot give up. Can't give up. I'm going to tell you, we are in this to win. Aren't you in this to win?
Absolutely.
Huh? Because we had some losses. We know what losses is about. Don't we know what losses is about, people?
Yes,
Come on, man. We got to get real. Let's get real. Let's take off the mask, right? The mask. The mask of fear, right? And let's put on the return to submission, the hope, the rope, right? Because when you're holding on to the rope, that means you got hope. When you let the rope go, that means you have given up. And if you look at all the stuff we have done since we've been in this earth, from the day we came out of our mother's wombs, matter of fact, as we were swimming up the birth canal, right, and penetrated that egg, right, and then we came out, right. Just think about what God says, that if God was to punish us for everything we did, nobody would be left on earth, right? Don't God say that in the Quran? Okay, let me read some more Quran because I don't want to veer off, okay? So the title of the sermon is called The Return to Submission. Okay? Bear with me because we started late. Okay? Now I'm going to read from Surah 47. I was going to read the whole Surah because they're short, but we fasting, so I just, I don't want to be long-winded. Okay. Muhammad, Surah 47. In the name of God, most gracious, most merciful, those who disbelieve and repel from the path of God, he nullifies their works. Those who believe and work righteousness and believe in what was sent down to Muhammad, which is the truth from their Lord. So, what God sent down with Prophet Muhammad was the Quran. We know that, right? The Quran, right? Prophet Muhammad was given the Quran from our Creator. We know that, right? Okay. He remits their sins and blesses them with contentment. Now let me just say this. I wrote it down. God has been speaking about contentment. And I wrote the ayats down, right? And I said, wow, that's deep. Because let me tell you something. Out of everything I've been through and faced in my life, I am filled with contentment. You see, do you understand what I'm saying? Contentment. Yeah. And like I'm beginning to understand it more on a deeper level because I'm not stressed out, I'm blessed out. Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm not stressed out, I'm blessed out. And what I mean by that is that, listen, once you have made it through hell, right? Once you be, because see, hell is not just the fire burning. It could be the thoughts burning, right? It could be something going on in your body, something going on in your life. You dealing with people. That could be a hell, right? So once you get out of those variations of hell, right? And you understand that hell, because you know if you read in the book, God is telling you what's going to happen, right? And God says that you're going to get a piece of the hell, you'll get some of the paradise. But once you understand exactly what it is that you're going through, then you can fight the good fight because you got God with you. And then what'll happen is your reliance and trust in the Creator, God will allow you to taste contentment no matter what it is you go through. No matter what it is somebody tell you. No matter what it is you tell you. Because sometimes you tell you some stuff, right? And if you're aware, right? And you love God more than anything. I'm talking about love God more than your house, your car, your children, your money. I'm telling you. Because if you don't, whatever it is, whatever it may be, that got you feeling some kind of way, is an illusion, right? And it will have you not thinking right, feeling right, sleeping right, resting right, all of that in one. You'll be like you will feel like you're being contained in a barrel. Okay? But when you are trusting in God, knowing God, because see, part of knowing God is that God is going to allow you to get some insights to things on a continuous basis. As long as you're alive, God is going to continuously give you the secrets. He gave you the key. Hello?
Yes, sir.
Didn't God give us the key?
Yes.
Al-Fatiha. The key. Right? God gave us the key. Listen. Let's forget about all the knowledge we know, all the schools we went to, all the degrees we got, and all this we think we got. And let's look at what God got for us. Yeah? Let's look at what God has for us. Because sometimes we think what we got is good for us, right? But then when you see what God got, you be like, oh man, this is better than what I thought I had. And the only reason why what God got is better than what we have is because God is not stingy like some of us are, right? God is not an unappreciative God, right? God gives to who? Everybody, right? Right? God is just. He says he gives to those who, right? And he gives to those who do right? Not with us. Let one of us get on each other's nerve. And I'm just giving a scenario here, right? And we start, because we got those humanistic emotions in us. And God points those things out to us. Anyway, you're just walking in. The title of the sermon is called Return to Submission. Okay, I'm going to read some more ayats from the Quran. Okay, just bear with me. I'm in Muhammad. Ayat 2. He remits their sins and blesses them with contentment. This is because those who disbelieve are following falsehood, while those who believe are following the truth from their Lord. Wow, that's deep. So we are following the truth from our Lord. God does sights for the people, their examples. If you encounter in war those who disbelieve, you may strike the necks. If you take them as captives, you may set them free or ransom them until the war ends. Had God willed, he could have granted you victory without war, but he thus tests you by one another. As for those who get killed in the cause of God, he will never put their sacrifice to waste. He will guide them and bless them with contentment. That means God will make us happy when we are striving to be with God. And look, I just want to say this. We will not be perfect in this path. We won't be perfect. Because if we was perfect, right, we would have never got sent down here from the get-go. So that tells us we are not perfect. So when your perfect mind says, oh, I'm so perfect, you say, no, you're not. You reflect back to the first time when we was up there and we sided with Shaitan, right? So that way we don't become big-headed in what we got or big-headed in what we know. Do y'all understand what I'm saying here? Because sometimes you can fool your own self, especially if you're not relying on God alone. So this is why we go back to God. This is why we return back to submission. So we can clear up that fog. So God won't let us repent. Alhamdulillah. La ilaha illallah. Okay. I'm going to wind it down. I'm still in the same surah, but now I'm going to 36 37. This worldly life is no more than play and vanity. But if you believe and lead a righteous life, He will reward you without asking you for any money. If He asked you for money to the extent of creating a hardship for you, you might have become stingy. See, God knows us, and your hidden evil might be exposed. Do y'all hear that? God says hidden evil. You see, do you see how our Creator tells us about us, lets us know about us? Because I can't read nobody's mind in here, and I'm not out to do that. I'm not God. Okay? God says worry about your own neck. But God also says that we have some hidden evils in us. And I'm not saying that makes you like a Charles Manson or, whoever, like whoever like may have done some vicious stuff. But what I'm saying, God says that there's a hidden evil in us. It could be doubt. It could be fear. It could be jealousy. It could be lust. It could be low self-esteem, right? It could be you holding on to something because you think that power lies in what it is you holding on. There's many ways and variations of looking at things. Many different ways. Your hidden evil might be exposed. You are invited to spend in the cause of God, but some of you turn stingy. The stingy are stingy towards their own souls. God is rich while you are poor. So we know that God is rich. So we go to God. We go to our Creator. I just want to speak about Salat briefly, because this is Ramadan, and like if we look at the Salat, the 5 contact prayers, those postures and stuff, we know that God gave us the prayer, and when you are pausing in those different positions, that's another pause button from God. Because if you look at when you're doing the different positions, Allah Kabir, right? You pause, right? Ruku, you pause. Sajda, you pause. The different postures. There's a pause in between, right? There's a reason for that. Because even in the Salat, you can take a minute out and pause and see where you are in your submission, in your life, in your circumstances. So what I'm trying to say here is this here, that in every aspect of what it is that we are doing as submitters, God gives us a chance to pause. I'm telling you, there's high wisdom in what it is that God has given us. He gives us a chance to pause, to take a break, to take a time out, and really look at who you really are. Examine your feelings, examine your thoughts, examine everything about what it is that make you who you are. And then hopefully you get real with who you are. And if you see that there's some inconsistencies within yourself, then you slowly make some changes. That's it. It's a path of striving. We're not going to be perfect. We're not. We're striving for perfection. We're not going to be immune to emotions. Okay? Anger, hurt, all these different things that we go through on this human level. But the gift is that God allows us to understand that you're going to go through X, Y, and Z, but just call on me. That's it. Call on God, rely on God. That's it. There's nothing wrong with relying on people, but don't make them your highest reliance. Okay? People die, people change their mind, right? People do things we don't like, because we do stuff that others don't like. We do stuff that we may not like. especially if you're really looking at yourself. Like they say, check yourself before you wreck yourself. So God allows you to pause in every aspect. When you're making the wudu, that's a pause from God. Because as you're going through the wudu, right, you're pausing, right, to do different things to prepare you for the contact prayer, right? So God is always giving us pauses so that we can reflect on where it is and where we're going in our life path. That's how merciful God is. He always gives us pause. But this is Ramadan. So our pause is from 28 to 30 days. 28 to 30 days. My mouth is a little bit dry, but hey, it is what it is. Later on, once the sun go down, I can drink some water and eat some victuals. And you notice when you're eating that food after, you don't it taste so good? Don't you be smiling to yourself? Yum, yum, right? 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 But if we was eating all day, we'll just be going about our day, right? But that Ramadan makes you appreciate water. It makes you appreciate food. And also, it makes you appreciate the blessings from God. And I'm going to say this, because there are people who don't have water, right? They drinking dirty water. They don't have food. They got to go to the dumpster to get food. I'm telling you. So let us reflect in this month of Ramadan of how blessed we are. And I'm not saying that those other people aren't blessed by God. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is we should not be complaining about anything. Nothing. Because we are returning back to submission. And the gist of the title is, if you have not been making salat, return back to salat. If you have not been controlling your anger, learn how to control your anger. If you got some lust issues going on, learn how to control the lust issues. If you got some other stuff going on that's worrying you, let it go, give it to God. That's it. Because God allows us to pause, and God allows us to see, you know what, I can't control this. I can't. It's bigger than me. So being that it's bigger than me, who should I be giving it to? Hello? Don't think because you said, La ilaha illallah, assalamu alaikum, Allahu akbar, and all that other stuff, that it's going to be an easy road for you. It's not going to be an easy road for you. You think it's going to be easy? Huh? It's never going to be easy. That's why it's called submission. Because it's a process of us totally submitting to God. So whatever's going on, I remember Sister Cecilia one time told me, let it burn. And I didn't know what she meant. Now I know what it means. Let it burn. Get out of God's way. Let God do what God been doing before that situation and problem even came in our midst. Right? Right? God got it. Right? Don't God got it?
Yes, sir.
I want to say this. You hear everybody saying, yes, sir, and God got it. Guess what? We're going to be tested. And when the test come, that's when we really got to rely on our faith, on our taqwa, on what it is that we're doing. I'm about to wind it down so we can make prayer, okay? So, as I was saying, the salat is a pause button for us, right? And if you notice, the prayer times are kind of centered around the sun. Have anybody checked that out? Salat times is kind of centered around the rising and so forth of the sun. So, what I was inspired to relate briefly is that the sun's rise and decline show our life more clearly. For God created the sun, right, to nourish us. This is a sign. Your rising is like the sun. our rising is like the sun. Because when we make those 5 contact prayers, it's somewhat centered around when the sun comes up and when the sun goes down. So we know that we're not worshiping the sun, but just like the sun, S-U-N, nourishes us, God nourishes us also. It's getting kind of hot, so I'm going to ask God to, this is the 5th day of Ramadan, so I'm asking God to guide us even more on the path. I'm asking God to grant us more of His bounty. I'm asking God to grant us more of His protection. I'm asking God to, whatever it is about us that we want to change in this month of Ramadan, that God allows us to do it. Inshallah, let's come to prayer.